Alright, hello Ninja fam.
What's cracking, Ninja fan?
No,
Welcome back.
No, seriously, okay. Alright, hello guys. This is your coaches, Mateusz,
Henry.
and this is our first episode of our first Ninja podcast, which we're gonna call Ninja Talks. Yeah, when we discuss all things training, parkour training, doing flips,
Just anything in the training or related, basically.
and yeah. So for today's topic, we want to talk about the behavior that happens quite often, not only in the training, in general in life, during human in your lives. You do this quite often, which is comparing yourself to others. Yeah, we're gonna mainly focus on comparing yourself within training. Because this is the training podcast, so the question is whether it's healthy to compare yourself to others, and then so this is what we're gonna discuss today. All right. So Henry, what's your thoughts on it?
I'm kind of, I'm a bit 50-50 on it, actually. I think sometimes it can be unhealthy, but then sometimes I think it can actually be quite healthy or be quite beneficial.
Yeah. I mean, my first thought was like no, but then as I was kind of meditating on it more, I was kind of thinking, I came to the conclusion it's kind of like a tool, and with all the tools you can, like, let's say you have a hammer, you can use it to build a nice table that will serve people, or you can use it to hurt someone, and I think it's very much the same with comparing yourself to other people. It's a tool, and it can give you benefits if you use it correctly, and it can hurt you, maybe not physically, but it can hurt you if you don't use it properly. And I think the main way people misuse comparing is just they compare themselves in terms like, oh, am I as good as someone or worse, and then they attach like their ego to it. They feel either, if they feel worse, which is most of the time is the case, most of the time when you compare yourself, is like you don't come up on the top, you actually look, you see yourself as worse in most cases, and then you feel bad, and that brings all like there's like a chain reaction of bad emotions, and negative emotions, frustration, jealousy,
Yes, very true.
which at the end of the day only discourages you from training, and this is the thoughts and emotions that kind of are disruptive to your training, distracting from your training. And on rare occasions, sometimes you can compare yourself, and then you do come up on the top. You are actually better, and then people have this like sense of feeling better. Superiority. I'm better than them, which is not good either, because these moments, first of all, are fleeting. Let's say, let's take like a class example, and then we do a class, and then the main theme for the class is backflips, for example. And one student, let's call him Henry. There's a student called Henry who actually did backflips very well, like none other student in the class. And he has this like, I'm the best here in this class, I'm the best. And he feels better than others. He feels superior. But then let's say next week class, we do precision jumps, and Henry doesn't excel in precision jumps as much. Actually, he's maybe one of the worst ones at the bottom part. That sense of superiority would disappear. That only proves it was just in his head illusion, because he only kind of based it on like a small portion of all the things you can do in training, which quite often happens. You have like a little bit of success, and then you look at this through that you're gonna be successful in all the things.
Which isn't the case.
And that's quite often that is actually a mistake.
And there's also there's a quote that I remember seeing on Instagram. It was, "Don't compare your day one to someone else's like 6 years." There's so many different factors that you need to take into consideration if you are going to start comparing yourself to others.
That's exactly.
Someone could, it could be their first day of ninja class, but they might have 6 years experience compared to someone else who's never done anything before, who's only been training for a month. So you can't really. It's not accurate to compare yourself to someone who's got more experience. People are different. Different people, like some people, it just clicks with people. They can pick things up quite easy. Like some people are just very high responders to training. Some people are less responsive to training. It takes them more time. Everyone's got different learning speeds, like you said. Everyone's got different strengths and weaknesses. So this is where comparing yourself can be quite unrealistic and not beneficial. And if you look at it like purely on skill level compared to if you look at it from where you start and how much you progress, like someone could start really good, but because they're the top of the class, like what you said, they've kind of got this like, oh yeah, I'm the best, and they don't really push because they think they're already the best, versus someone who's lower but has improved more. They're still not as good, but in terms of the percentage that they've improved by, the beginners actually, if you were to compare it in terms of who's progressed more as an individual, which is actually ultimately what's more important, then the beginner would have been more successful in terms of progression.
Yeah, that is true. And then this is actually another point I want to make. You kind of touched it upon. Quite often this like comparing yourself is done very superficially. Like in my example, someone compares themselves on like using the backflip, but when it comes to training is such a broad field. There's so many things like strength, like you said, yeah. And quite often people do very superficial like a judgment. Oh, he can do backflip better than me, and then I feel worse because of that, because I can't do backflip so good. But I can see even in our classes, yeah, someone does excels in one thing, but then is not as good in other things. And when you really like, if you want to make a comparison, do it like thoroughly, because quite often it looks like things kind of even out. Someone is bad at one thing, but let's say someone's better than you at one thing, but probably you might be better at other thing than that person you compare yourself to, and overall it will be more or less even. Yeah, quite often that's the thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole in being in favour of comparison, where if you're, I don't know, like say me and you are training together and we make like we currently have a little backflip competition to see who can do double backflip first step take. It can actually encourage you, if it's like done in a positive way of like pushing each other forwards, it can actually be beneficial, because then you're kind of like, it pushes you a little bit further. It's not like, it's a different kind of competition. We're treating it like an actual game. If you treat it like a game, like who can do this the best kind of thing, who's the first to do this, you've got something to chase towards, and it kind of acts as almost like a stimulus to kind of maybe push yourself a little bit more than you would if you were by yourself. Because we've given ourselves a deadline as well, so it's not like we'll just take our time, whatever. We've got like a deadline where the competition is finished, and so we have to train and make sure that we train accordingly in order to reach this goal. So that's where I would be in favour of competition, if it's treated like a fun kind of game kind of thing.
So this is like one of the good ways to use comparison. Yeah, another good way to use comparison, I would say, is just to help yourself progress. So when you see the person that is actually better than you, don't be jealous, don't feel worse. Just, it's a very good opportunity for you. It's actually a blessing, yeah, because then you can like go to that person, ask how did she achieve, just analyze how did they get there. Because this is what I do, yeah. There is some people who do some stuff better than me, and then I'm actually quite excited and fascinated. Like I'm walking up. Let's say if in a training place, someone does, let's say double backflip better than me. I'm currently working my double backflip, yeah, and someone does it like very nicely. I wouldn't go like, oh, jeez. I wouldn't be jealous or anything, yeah. Or I wouldn't. First of all, I wouldn't feel myself, oh, I suck or something. I wouldn't be like trying to. Some people do. That's one of the reactions. They like feel worse than like, oh, I suck. I don't do backflips yet. Or they're trying to kind of undermine others person. Oh, yeah, but he's doing double backflip of trampoline, so that does him extra.
Yeah.
So they try and undermine someone else's achievement, and that always guys just insecurity and weak character. Don't do that. That's bad.
No good will come with that.
No, never. Yeah, that's weak character. So, but like I said, it's an opportunity. I would just walk out to the person, like, guys, oh man, your backflip is double backflip is amazing. Can you have a look at mine? Yeah, you analyze, try to understand his thinking, how to get there. Yeah, how he managed to do it, how often he trained. Just ask loads of questions, and then boom, and then that can speed up learning of your. In my case, will be double backflip. In this example, will be double backflip, but it can be any other move. That can speed up your progress, which is what is this about? Progressing fast, and that kind of goes back to my initial thing. All these little petty emotions, jealousy, feeling worse, actually slows down your progress. Yeah, and at the end of the day, everybody wants to progress as fast as he can. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, definitely. I think with this scenario, the main thing is your approach, how you approach it.
Yeah.
Like you could either be inspired by this person that's better than you, and look up to this person and have something to strive towards, or you, in what Mateusz just said, you can just kind of be discouraged and feel bad and this and that. It's just if you just switch up the way you feel, the way you think, and your approach towards it, it can just change everything.
Definitely.
Because I think in the past I felt a little bit like that, like when I was kind of first starting. It's pretty normal, it's natural, everyone does. You know, you think, oh man, this person's been training for this amount of time, and they can do this, and I've been training for this amount of time, and I can only do this or that.
But but then that's superficial.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
because
get you anywhere.
You just see a person for like a fraction of a second, and you make this assumption: oh, they trained for 5 years and they can do this. But I got the example from my experience. Like I remember there was these free runners, and they were doing these tricks, and they were training tricks I was doing after like 10 years, and then could already do it or something. But then it turned out they couldn't do like a tumble pass, like by handsprings in a row.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised because I could do it when I was 12, and for me it's just like a basic thing. Yeah. And then I kind of so that kind of taught me that quite often you make this comparison very superficially. You don't really delve deep. But again, don't delve deep to find to feel better about yourself. Oh, they can do this bits better than me, but I bet if I delve deep, they can do something that I can do better. No, that's petty emotions. You analyze something, delve deep into someone's training, but only just to use it as a learning tool. To make your training better.
The time that the energy that you're spending doing all of that, that's energy that you could be training or doing something else that's more constructive towards your own training.
I think
that's pretty much it.
I think we exhausted our points.
If you guys have any ideas or anything that you want to add to that maybe we missed out, feel free to comment down below.
Or as always, we can talk about it during the class or after the class, ideally, so don't miss out on the training. And then so that was the first episode. So that's gonna be on YouTube and Spotify for now. Sorry for the audio, but that was actually quite spontaneous decision to make this podcast right now. I actually happened to have a bit of time. And we're behind the schedule of our project, so we improve on that. But meantime, thanks for listening.
Catch you guys in the next
the way to say, thanks for tuning in.
That's
the one,
the one.
that's the one in the podcast, and then
Catch you in the next episode.
See you around.